A disruption that's not picking up headlines. A new American food crisis may be unfolding under the radar. Tariffs, hidden costs, and secret moves by major companies are hitting your grocery bill right now. We're talking about a policy shift out of Washington under President Trump that experts say could quietly reshape what's on your plate.
Well, Jordan, people are feeling this but don't know where it's coming from. Hear what is really going on. A new American goods crisis. This isn't just about inflation. It's about a new, radical economic strategy that's changing the way we eat, what we pay for it, and the future of America's farms. To understand this, we have to follow the food. From the fields of the American heartland to the shores of our trading partners. For decades, a delicate dance of trade has brought us everything from fresh produce in winter to the fertilizer that helps our farmers grow our crops. But that dance has just been violently interrupted. A series of sweeping tariffs, some as high as 50% on goods from key trading partners like Brazil, Canada, and Mexico, are creating a ripple effect. And it's hitting you not as a tariff on a television, but as a tax on your dinner plate.
This soon will drain your wallet. The Trump administration calls it reciprocal tariff and trade emergency authorities. These are fancy words but can be flat-out misleading. So before we continue, first let's learn how tariffs, essentially hidden taxes on goods, really work. Importers pay them at the port when goods cross into the U.S. But those importers don't just absorb the cost, they pass it straight down the supply chain. That means wholesalers pay more, then retailers, and finally you at the checkout. The price hike isn't labeled tariff on your receipt, so you may never know you're paying a government-imposed surcharge. That's why tariffs can quietly hit every family budget without a single new law passed.
So, Jordan, are you saying that this isn't just a trade skirmish? It's a stealth tax? How is the administration using it?
Now, this is what the Trump administration is doing, and how what they tell you differs from reality. In 2025, the White House reactivated two old authorities, reciprocal tariffs and trade emergency powers, to impose new duties on food imports from sugar to cold chain equipment. Publicly, officials frame this as a patriotic push to bring production back home. But the fine print shows much of the domestic capacity simply doesn't exist. So instead of reshoring instantly, you get shortages and higher prices while companies scramble to adjust. And some products, like organic sugar or specialty spices, have no U.S. substitutes at all.
If the policy doesn't match the supply reality, who's calling this out?
Economists, researchers, and multiple studies disagree with this policy. Yale's Budget Lab estimates these tariffs could add hundreds of dollars a year to the average household grocery bill. The National Restaurant Association warns it could cost the industry billions. Independent think tanks like Cato call it a regressive tax, hitting low-income families hardest. Critics also note tariffs rarely achieve the stated goal of long-term domestic job growth without broader industrial planning, something this program lacks. In other words, you pay more now without a guarantee of benefits later.
And beyond economics, there's a legal question too, right?
Before I tell you what to expect and how to prepare, let me first talk about the role of Congress on tariffs, the law, and the Constitution. Under Article 1, Section 8, Congress has the power to lay and collect duties. Over decades, it delegated chunks of that power to presidents. But critics argue the current use of trade emergency powers goes beyond what lawmakers intended. Nonpartisan legal groups say bypassing congressional review on sweeping food tariffs violates the spirit, if not the letter, of the Constitution. Several senators are now drafting bills to rein that authority back in. So this isn't just an economic fight. It's a separation of powers clash.
So now, the big question is, if Congress doesn't act, what's the next sign everyday Americans will feel?
Watch for grocery shrinkflation, smaller packages at higher prices. Watch for sudden menu changes at restaurants, citing supply issues. Expect imported staples like sugar, coffee, wine, and specialty grains to spike first. And because tariffs can be slapped on overnight, shockwaves ripple quickly, sometimes within weeks, before consumers even know why prices jumped. That's why experts warn of a slow-motion food shock rather than a single crisis headline.
I'm sure many people watching are wondering, what can we do now?
First, know your labels. Domestic versus imported ingredients will matter more. Second, budget ahead. If you see non-perishables on sale, stock up. Third, push for transparency. Some lawmakers are proposing that companies itemize tariff costs on receipts so consumers can see who's paying. Fourth, follow trade announcements. The Commerce Department posts them publicly, but few notice. Staying informed is your best defense because these policies can change overnight and ripple into your kitchen within weeks.
And Jordan, as we know it, tariffs have gotten a ton of pushback. So politically, how are supporters justifying it, and what's the word from critics?
Supporters frame this as protecting American farmers and jobs. President Trump says foreign suppliers have undercut U.S. producers for decades. They call tariffs tough love for global competitors. But critics are countering that, saying, without deeper reforms, like investment in domestic capacity and labor standards, tariffs alone won't solve the problem. They may even entrench monopolies and make prices stickier once they rise. In short, unless policy changes, Americans could end up paying more without seeing the promised benefits.
You've just heard how a Washington tariff policy can hit your wallet without you realizing it. Is this fair trade protection or an unnecessary hidden tax?
Comment below with your thoughts. If you think Congress should retake its constitutional role on tariffs, say so. We'll feature some comments in our next report. And subscribe to US Daily News Brief for clear, fast updates on the issues shaping your life.